So I found myself having just completed my first real estate deal, which we all know that, adrenaline and kind of that great feeling you get. And I didn't have anything else to do. It's like, well, I can't really get another FHA loan to house hack again for a year. What's the next best thing? And I came across wholesaling, and that was kind of what got the ball rolling for me. I was a basketball player my entire life, since I was 3 years old and growing up through college. And I was playing on the Harlem Globetrotters when the pandemic hit. And so no more traveling in the world, no more basketball. And I was like, I right in the middle of buying my first post-college house. And I had heard about this thing called house hacking. And so I literally closed on my first duplex a few weeks before all of the shutdowns happened. So I found myself having just completed my first real estate deal, which we all know that, adrenaline and kind of that great feeling you get. And I didn't have anything else to do. It's like, well, I can't really get another FHA loan to house hack again for a year. What's the next best thing? And I came across wholesaling, and that was kind of what got the ball rolling for me.
All right. So wholesaling, describe wholesaling and what you think that was going to do for you, or what that did for you.
Yeah. So wholesaling, to kind of how I got started, how I understand it, is basically being a professional deal finder. That's what I think about it as being someone who understands what makes a good real estate deal and going out and doing the work to find it, and then assigning that contract or to buy that property to another investor. And so what that did for me was it taught me what a good deal looks like, how to run the numbers, how to analyze, how to talk to sellers. And it also I was able to make connections with local investors who are looking for those deals because I was passing them off to them. And then third, of course, it helped me build some capital because I was making, $5,000, $10,000 per contract that I was assigning.
My first mentor was actually a wholesaling mentor. And I was like, wholesalers, that's easy. I'm going to flip these things. But you're right. The wholesale mentor taught me how to market for it, negotiate the contracts. I thought that was the hardest part. Hiring a contractor was like, okay, it's relatively simple. You know, so I think that's the hardest part is marketing and selling, getting under contract. Now, how did you learn that? I mean, you just start doing it? Did you go to a seminar, read a book, or how did you even get started with this?
I read a bunch of books. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos. I listened to podcasts all day, every day. And I made a lot of mistakes and learned from those too.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. How many have you done then? How many wholesales?
I did about 6 or 7 wholesale deals before I started keeping those contracts for myself.
And then what'd you do? Okay. What'd you do once you kept the contract for yourself?
I did the BRRRR method, or like the renovate and rent. So I would use those funds I built up to bring the property up to condition, get that new higher valuation, then do a cash out refinance to get all my capital back, and then do it again.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So how did you finance those then?
So I found a local lender. Actually, it was a good connection from someone that I'd wholesaled a couple of deals to. They put me in touch with their lender who could do a kind of a short-term, low down payment, give me a little bit of money for the renovation as well. And it was only like a 6-month loan. So I got in there, renovated those houses, paid that back with the cash out refinance. And now it's just on a typical, 30-year mortgage.
Now, you didn't do all this in private like most investors. No, you had to blab about it on YouTube. How did you start getting into YouTube, and what are you doing on YouTube?
So going back to the social media and the kind of Harlem Globetrotter thing, my job as a Harlem Globetrotter was like a media kind of public relations type deal. And when all of that shut down, kind of sitting at home, one of my friends sent me a quote that was like, do cool things and document it. And I was like, well, I think this thing's cool. I'm trying to learn how to wholesale. And that's kind of how it started. And it's really snowballed. We've got almost 140,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel now. And what I always say is that I'm documenting my real estate journey and bringing people with me. I'm no expert, but I've been doing it for a while now and showing the ups, showing the downs, showing the wins, showing the losses. And I think people really appreciate that perspective.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So you do stuff, and it's kind of like reality TV, right? You get up and right, you're getting up and you don't know if you're going to be successful. And that's okay with you.
Yeah, I started this series. It was like getting my first wholesale deal. And it was literally the first day I went out driving for dollars with my mom. It was like, Mom, hold this phone for me, tap the properties as we drive past them. And, when I started that, like you said, there's no way to know if I'm actually going to make it happen and get a deal. But it ended up going for, I think, 7 episodes where I was driving for dollars. I got a property under contract. It didn't work out, or, ups, downs until it was finally like, got a deal.
So did you start out right away with YouTube and real estate? And then um, what kind of benefits have you seen just from documenting everything that you've been doing?
Yeah. So the real estate, the YouTube channel actually didn't start out necessarily as real estate. It was kind of like, what is this Harlem Globetrotter thing, transitioning from college basketball to pro. I was actually playing golf and thinking about going and trying to play some professional golf. I grew up playing a bunch of different sports. We had just won a national championship my last year in college. So there were a lot of cool things that were kind of going on in my life that I was just kind of talking about. And then the pandemic hit. And so I'm at home, might as well, continue to make some videos. And what I found is like 3 things. You can educate people through social media and through creating content, which is something I know you guys do a great job of, whether that's YouTube, podcasts, blogs, Instagram posts. But then you can also like connect with people. And I was able to connect with other beginners who maybe were just a couple of deals ahead of me that I would never have connected with. They would have never known I was doing this if I just kept it to myself. And then third is, it helped me also find people who are leagues and leagues above me who want to get in out of doing it themselves and get into some private investing and some private lending, and those connections just by showing people, hey, I'm a hard worker. This is what I'm doing. This is what I've learned through the YouTube channel. I've had so many people who want to get involved that way reach out.
So I mean, this is a fun thing to do, and I think you started monetizing the channel just because you have so many followers, which is kind of cool in itself. Right. Is there any benefits to the real estate investing that you think from having a YouTube channel?
It's much harder to give up on something when 140,000 people are waiting for the next video.
That is a good point. It's an extreme form of accountability, Lily. That's a good point. So guys, this is a good lesson here. Put yourself out there. So basically the entire world is holding you accountable. That's a big one. Anything else you can think of?
Yeah, I would say that. I would also say that connection piece, because there's a lot of other people who are doing podcasts. Like, I'm getting this chance to talk to you and, connect with you and learn from you that I probably never would have had if I was just another one of the thousands of people out there trying to get started in real estate. So like, just being able to connect with other content creators and learn from them has been a huge thing. And also helping other people. Like we've talked about it before, that once you find a little bit of success in something, most people want to show other people how they did it and kind of maybe help them along.
Well, one thing that you'll discover, and we already have, is the power of the platform is, well, very powerful, right? You can use it to a variety of different things, all those things you described. And one day you may actually discover you can use it to raise capital from potential investors in your deals. And I think it's awesome. It literally, it's the step. If you get into syndication, you're doing 2 or 3 deals. At one point, you can't raise any more capital one-on-one. You have to go social media. So it's super important that people pay attention to that. And you've gone deep with YouTube. Can you talk a little bit more about what you did to get this many subscribers and maybe some takeaways for the listeners?
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway was you don't have to be an expert to, 1, talk about your journey, and then 2, teach what you do know. And so at the very beginning, I was talking about house hacking because I had just closed that house hacking deal. And then as I started to get into wholesaling, it was documenting and then teaching, like documenting, this happened today, here's what I learned from it. And there's a lot of pressure, I think, around creating content. But if you look at it in that way of just showing what's happening, and it's almost like a journal, right? You're just recording what's happening, what you've learned, what went right, what went wrong. That can take a lot of pressure off of it and give you things to talk about. Like you said, it's kind of reality TV. I wake up, something happens, and there's my content for the day.